Good afternoon there, sir. Looks like that's Carlos Vidas or Rivas. Carlos Rivas. As folks get to filtering in here, you see the question already. Is it wrong to question Ketanji Brown? We got a new Supreme Court justice coming in, and I'm trying to, like I said, the folks will filter in. Should be about 100 of us in here. Once again, as always, I'm looking for my MAGA folks, so let's see what kicks off. But do you believe it's wrong? Or it's you know how it is when you question a woman, people have problems with that. And as Ketanji Brown is potentially facing a lifetime appointment to the Supreme Court, I have to add, MAGA here, DJG28. Always happy to talk to MAGA. You know how the fuck it works. But the question today I'm asking, is it wrong? Or are they going overboard questioning Ketanji Brown? She's the African-American woman that's about to be appointed to the Supreme Court. My take is simple. It doesn't matter what ethnicity you are. It doesn't matter what race you are. It's not sexist. It's not racist to ask you shit that every fucking Supreme Court justice in the history of America's been asked. I'm just going to say that. So the idea that it's wrong or they're overboard and questioning. Okay, let me ask you this, Carlos Rivas. You do not like token hires. And she clearly is. That's well put. That is well said because Biden made it clear he was going to appoint a black woman, and that's what the fuck he did. And it is inarguable, in my opinion. It's not even up for debate whether stating you're going to hire a black woman and then carrying that out is racist or not. It meets the definition of racism. I mean, it's not the hill to fucking die on. Let me make that clear. But let me reiterate my point. If a mayor or a police superintendent said, I'm going to hire a police chief for this town, and the next guy I hire is going to be a white male, the liberals, the African Americans, we go fucking nuts over that. That's clearly a racist decision. What Biden did with hiring Ketanji Brown or whatever her name is and announcing it first, it's obviously racist. It's undeniably racist. However, I go by my original point. It's not the hill to die on because obviously the way the Supreme Court has been ran for the last 200 fucking years has been ran in a racist manner. So putting a black woman on there and bringing up that, hell, y'all, Biden is racist as hell, which he is in doing that, it's not the hill to die on. It's just, that's not the place to do it. But technically, hell yeah, it is. Get a job, please, says, that's what user 8474 said. You know what? I'm actually on my job right now. I got my ID and everything here. I'm actually on the lunch break right now. But I do appreciate the comment. Let me see. I'm looking at you and appreciate the follow that Shane Muhammad 275. 7 p.m. Central is when we're on here doing these live shows. Like I said, this is a snowflake zone. You ain't gonna say shit on here that we're not willing to tackle. And I prefer, as I always say, to talk to my red hat audience. Bring your fucking red hats. I got mine. Hit the likes, by the way. Let's get that shit up to 500 so we can bring in some more MAGA to this shit. All right. Her questioning hasn't been anything like Kavanaugh. DJG 928, you're right. They drug Brett Kavanaugh through the fucking mud. Now, I will say this, and I'm not defending what they did to Kavanaugh by any fucking means. I will say this, though. When it comes to Judge Brown, I see them likes coming in and get me up there. I appreciate that. It doesn't cost you shit to send a like. When it comes to Kavanaugh, there's two things I will say that probably caused him to be questioned more than, say, Ketanji Brown is being questioned. And I'm not defending, appreciate that sunset for love, absolutely appreciate those roses. I'm not going to say that what they did to Kavanaugh, I'm not defending that shit. It was bullshit. However, I will say this, two things. First of all, Kavanaugh had not been through all of the prior Senate hearings that Ketanji has. So to some degree, it ain't a lot of new shit they can come up with on Ketanji because most of them that are questioning her, they had the ability and the power to do it before and they didn't do it. So it's like, why the fuck you bringing this up now? You should have brought it up when she was brought into them lower appointments. I do understand the seriousness of being a Supreme Court justice. It's a lifetime fucking appointment and you can do a lot of damage if you're on the wrong side of the fence. However, being a appeals court judge or some of them lower court judges, you can also fuck a lot of shit up. So if you thought she was being too light on child offenders or something, you should not have let her get this fucking far. It should have came up to begin with. That's the first thing. Second thing is, obviously, Brett Kavanaugh had been accused of shit that would normally be, well, it is a felony. I mean, he was accused of some serious crimes. I'm not saying there was any legitimacy to it at all. I'm not going down that route. They brought up shit that happened to him in college. I'm not going in that direction. I'm just simply saying, when you got folks coming forward saying that you've, taken their innocence and shit like that, you're probably going to be questioned more. That's not to say it wasn't bullshit. I'm just explaining the difference between the way they treated Kavanaugh versus how they're treating Ketanji Brown. Good question, by the way. Let me see. You guys are already getting what your cross-side says, John 13426. There you go, fucking cross-side. I don't know. Ted Cruz is a buffoon, says R315. I think Ted Cruz is an opportunist. If you look at Ted Cruz's history with President Trump, for instance, when it benefited him, he went against Trump. When it benefited him, he went for Trump. Then when it benefited, he went from Trump against Trump again, say like on January 6th, he was really negative of Trump. Then the minute he realized that Trump was not going to, people weren't holding Trump accountable, he came right back on the Trump train. So, yeah, Ted Cruz is an opportunist. You want to talk about fuckers like Al Sharpton and all that shit being an opportunist? Ted Cruz is an opportunist on the right. What's sad is confirmation was blocked of a conservative black female judge. Wow. I didn't know that. Why the fuck didn't I know that? I would love to know who that was and do some research on that. That came from Go Ride 22. I did not know that. Ted Cruz made a fool of himself yesterday. I concur to some degree. Certainly Lindsey Graham, and when they started asking shit like, I think Ted Cruz is the one that held up a book talking about some shit that's being taught at her school and trying to hold her accountable because she's on the board of one of those critical race theory oriented books that was being taught to kids at the school she went to. What the fuck does that have to do with becoming a Supreme Court judge? If you want to know her opinions on critical race theory, goddamn it, just ask her that. I mean, bringing up a fucking book, I agree. Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham too asked her some weird ass shit. Scrolling forward, damn, you guys are on fire already. Just put on your MAGA hat. Look, when the time comes, when the fucking time comes, okay? I'm looking at Biden and I'm remembering shit under Trump. When the fucking time comes, I'm just telling you that. All right. Anyone who has kids, this is super scary. PNW Glow 72, frequent viewer. I always appreciate your comments, but I'm going to ask that you elaborate. Are you suggesting that if you have children, the appointment of Brown may be scary? I want to know more about that. Now, keep in mind, folks, no matter what you may think of Brown, you may think her reasoning, particularly maybe you're talking about the sex crimes and all of that shit, how she gave lesser than guideline sentences. Keep in mind, regardless of what you think about her, she is still part of a 6-3 majority that leans right. So even if she goes off the fucking deep end, she still will be outnumbered significantly. I don't even think Sotomayor and the other left-wing judge would necessarily follow her if she gets too far off the deep end. So keep in mind, regardless of what you think about her, she is still only one justice out of 9. America's about to invade that forehead. Lots of free oil up there. Chicago 2020. I'm assuming you're talking about my shit. I don't know. Cruz is better than any Democrat. That came from Nick Pasquale. Listen, he is a right-winger. And I understand your opinion. You lean right. So, I mean, that would be just like a left-winger saying that fucking Maxine Waters or AOC is better than any right-winger. I'm not going to say that shit is true, but I'm going to say I understand your opinion. And I appreciate you commenting, but it is what it is. You'll find something on almost everyone. Golden State of Mind 420. Holla at your boy. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Anytime you are scrutinized, you get your fucking 15 minutes of fame where the whole nation gets to scrutinize your ass since childhood, they gonna find some shit. I mean, let me just be candid. When I was coming up, We used to play a fucking game called Catch a Girl, Kiss a Girl. I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember that shit. The Me Too world now would fuck you up if you got caught in the game of Catch a Girl, Kiss a Girl. But that was quite common back in our day. It's almost like hide and go seek, but you play it with other girls. I mean, adolescence, maybe by the time you're 15 or so, you've kind of done playing it, but you played it between the ages of about 8 and 15. Catch a girl, kiss a girl. Under today's current climate, you fucking around and end up in jail doing some shit like that. It's just a different world. And like what he said in regards to if you do enough research on somebody, you'll find something on anybody. Bring up the fact that, well, you know that boy, that guy Tim that is online talking about the handsome liberal or something. Here's a girl that remember when they were 9 years old, he chased her down and kissed her ass on the monkey bars against her will or some shit like that. And now here it is, my whole fucking appointment is going down the drain because I'm accused of being a 9-year-old, assault. It's shit like that. It is shit like that. As ridiculous as that may fucking sound, that is very, it's kind of in the realm of what they were going after Brett Kavanaugh for. It was some shit that happened a long time ago. And I know I'm not going to be popular for saying this. Let me see if I can say this in a way that don't fuck around and get me on a deep end and shit. I believe in a statute of limitations to some degree. I don't believe you should be able to keep quiet about something and you know what the fuck I'm talking about for 30 or 40 years and then pop up and use it as a weapon. At some fucking point in time, you should be required to come clean and say something. File some charges, say something. You can't hold this shit in for come fuck around with me when I'm a senior citizen about something I did during the Carter administration. What the fuck? That's just my point. I know there's some folks in this audience. If there's some liberals, I know there's some of you in there like, hell no, I don't agree. But I'm just telling you, that's how I feel. Let me look at the questions. You guys are on fire. Politicians should have a term limit just like the president. That came from Lee Roberts. And something, but I made it clear that that's not going to happen, particularly because the folks that would give you term limits are doing that against themselves. Congress, Senate is not going to vote to kick their own self out of a job. Here's the way I believe if we ever had a remote chance of getting term limits, here's the way I believe it could be done or it could be implemented. You'd have to get somebody who has a large amount of loyalty or appreciation, which is why I think Trump would have been the guy to do this. But you got to also implement term limits. When you pass the law to try to get term limits, it has to be far enough out in the future that the corrupt crooks that are currently in Washington could make all of the money they need and then be okay with doing it to the next generation. In other words, we're going to pass term limits and they initiate in 2035. I believe you could get something like that done. That way all the senators and congressmen could brag to their constituents, I got you to fuck what you want. Your kids do not have to worry about dealing with congressmen and senators for the rest of their lives. And I can still fucking get paid for the next 20 years, which is what I plan to do any goddamn way. So you're not firing me and you're getting your term limits. That's the only way I think you can get term limits is to implement it a significant period of time down the road, maybe 10, 15 years down the road. I think you could get most congressmen and enough senators on board with that if you got the right president promoting it. I think Trump was the right president to do that. Let me see here. Looking at the comments, you were not paying $1.34. What is each one in fuel? I'd like to know what you mean. Elaborate on that. Call for a convention of the states is the only way. I don't quite get that. Appreciate the good idea, says Sunset for Love. Exactly. That's where I think you could do it. You get it done if it didn't mean firing the folks that are currently serving. When I was in elementary school, it was catch a girl finger. Oh my God. That came from, looks like Kill Y52. He said, now I said when I was in school, it was called Catch a Girl, Kiss a Girl. That was the game we played. He suggested when he was in school, it was called Catch a Girl. I don't even want to say it because I don't want fucking TikTok to fuck with me, but he's saying this is what they were doing, using this digit. Oh my God, it was a popular game. Y'all had some hoes in y'all school. That's funny as hell. There are a few Republicans that are for that. That came from Lee Robert. Listen, there's not enough of them. There's not a fucking enough of them. I don't hear Ted Cruz talking about he's down with term limits. There's not enough of them. There's probably some Democrats that would be okay saying that they're okay with term limits too. You might be to get fucking Nancy Pelosi to do it. I mean, she ain't going to be serving much longer anyway. You might be to get a few of those, the Chuck Schumers, but it's not enough of them. Mitch McConnell might be okay with term limits. It's not enough of them, though. You're not going to get AOC to be okay with term limits. You're too young. Let me see. So this is coming from, looks like CBJ fan. So to make sure your victim is uncut. Oh my God. Okay. Let me tackle this. This is interesting. I'm assuming let me get the grammar around this because the way it's typed. So you just got to make sure your victim is unconscious during your statute of limitations. I'm not saying the statute of limitations to be a few fucking days. I'm talking about shit like Mr. Huxtable, if you know who I'm talking about, where they're coming from shit from the 1960s. Ain't no victim unconscious since 1960, goddammit. Speak up! If you were violated back in the Kennedy administration, don't come to me when Barack Obama or Donald Trump is in office talking about something needs to be done. What were you doing during the 70s and 80s? I mean, what the hell? Speak up! That's all I'm saying. There should be some kind of limit. And here's the reason why I say that. And I understand the true issue with somebody being violated. I understand it could cause nightmares, unlimited PTSD for the rest of your life. I'm not taking away anything from somebody who has truly been violated. The reason I believe you should have to come forward sooner than that is because if you wait long enough, it truly becomes just a story of your word against his word. And if you got somebody who has a horrible reputation, Charlie Sheen, Kanye West, just somebody who has it's pretty easy to pin some shit on them. If it just becomes your word against their word, all you gotta do is take somebody who really does not have any criminal record, just some, Mayberry looking fucking Leave It to Beaver looking girl that looks like she's the picture of perfection. She can make a whole bunch of money off of somebody like that because their reputation is already fucking ruined. Nobody's going to believe, Charlie Sheen or Dennis Rodman or somebody didn't do some shit. You need to be able to come forward where you can actually prove something. And when you wait 20, 30, 40 years, it's just he said, she said at that point. There's not going to be any significant proof around 30, 40 years later. That is why I believe you should have to come forward with a little more than an accusation. Now, if you can show where the person wrote you fucking letters and apologized and shit like that over and over again for it over the last 20 years, that's different. You got proof. But most of the allegations made in cases like this do not have any proof. It's more of one of those things where that person was so powerful and I was scared. Hey, look, 40 years, 30 years, look, it's over with. That's just my opinion. I know that's not a popular opinion, but it's over with at some point. 18 states have agreed to Convention of States, need 32, I believe. That came from Flight 452. When you say a Convention of the States, elaborate on that. I'm going to admit ignorance on that. And that's why I like talking to a red fucking hat crowd. Hit them likes. Take me up to 5,000. Fuck it. Hit them likes. Don't cost you shit. Helps the page up. Brings me more of these people. When you say Convention of the State, I'm willing to admit ignorance. That's why I like talking to these folks. I learn shit. Cue me up without me having to go online. I want to know more about the Convention of the States because you're suggesting that may be a solution to some of the shit we're discussing here. Let me know. I got 20, 25 minutes. Definitely going to be here for a minute. All right. Nothing can be done if that doesn't profit for themselves. And that came from Black George Washington. You want capitalism, right? I mean, there's somebody like Bernie Sanders or even Barack Obama or Elizabeth Warren step up. Fuck that. They're socialists. You want capitalism, right? Well, that's how capitalism runs. Everybody is chasing the almighty dollar. And sometimes they do it at the expense of the country. So when you start talking about this ain't going to change or that ain't going to change because folks are making money, that's what happens in a capitalist country. Everybody focuses on making money. Scott Berkey 01 said, want to fight me about it. What are we talking about? Remember, we're here to have a healthy debate. I'm willing to debate the shit out of you. If you want to call that a verbal fight, let's go for it. But elaborate on what you're talking about. Chuckster plays. McConnell doesn't want to go anywhere. Shit, nature may make McConnell go somewhere. How old is fucking Mitch McConnell at this point? How old is that guy? Same thing with Nancy Pelosi. I mean, Nancy Pelosi's in her 80s. Don't matter if you want to go anywhere or not. God may have different plans for you. At some point, you got to realize you can't keep doing this shit. Let me see here. Because it's definitely about to take place. Scott Berkey, what are you talking about again? One second. Politicians should not be paid a salary. Then who the fuck would want to do it? That came from Redneck Vegan. There's 19 Redneck Vegan. I like that. Redneck Vegan. Are there any Redneck Vegans? Where the hell are you from? Maine or somewhere? Look, you're not going to get enough politicians if they're not paid a salary. Or what you'll get is you'll get a whole bunch of corruption. I mean, people got to feed their fucking families. If you make it so that they got to do the job for free, then you know what's going to happen. Kickbacks, ghost payroll, and they're going to do other things on the side with that amount of power they got that'll allow them to make a living. Which is, I mean, you still have it happen now. Even when you say politicians shouldn't get a salary, when you really look at what most of these guys can make and gals can make in the private sector, it really isn't getting a salary. I mean, look at Trump. Trump got in there and said, I don't even need the fucking money because they were making so much money in the private sector. And also what ends up happening is they go right from being a politician to working in the private sector, doing a lot of shit that's in relations to the legislation they passed when they were a politician. So here you are, you pass laws that are in favor of alternative energies, or you pass laws that are in favor of big oil. And then the minute you leave, you're working on, General Electric's fucking board of engineers or something, or you're on their director's board, which means it's pretty fucking obvious that job is a kickback for what you did when you were in office. You would have more of that if you had politicians working without a salary. And like I said, they're doing it now even with a fucking salary. Scott Burke, you said not you. Okay, fair enough. Like I said, you guys are getting me up them likes. I got 25. Hit the likes. It's over 100 of you in this motherfucker. All right. It's the stock market. Ask Pelosi, millions made. Yeah. Name a politician that has served on Congress, Senate, or any of that as long as Pelosi that hasn't made a fortune from the stock market. You think the late John McCain didn't make a fortune off the stock market? How long has Mitt Romney been in politics? Remember the whole thing about him saying that you shouldn't be taxed as much if you made your money from investments? It ain't just Pelosi. They all do it. All right, do yourself a favor and look up Convention of the States. Scott Berkey 01, I will do that after this live stream is over with. I promise you that shit. When I do my broadcast, my regular broadcast, 7 p.m. Central, for you guys who want to talk the real, as I always say, bring your fucking red hats because I got mine. I will know more about the Convention of the States. But I do appreciate that. I'll look it up, look up how the Convention of States can be called and set terminals. Okay. Did I get muted? Go Ride 22. You ain't been muted on here. This is a no snowflake zone. Ain't no fucking snowflakes here. There's nothing you can come up with that we're not willing to tackle as long as it's on political topics, shit that's going on in the world. Right now, we're kind of talking about Ketanji Brown being appointed to the Supreme Court, and whether it's legitimate to ask her the typical questions you would ask any Supreme Court justice. And my take is, being a woman, being a person of color should not excuse you from the regular scrutiny that every fucking Supreme Court justice before you went through. Don't pull the race card or the woman card when you're about to sit on the bench and make decisions that could affect tens of millions of Americans. Not the time, folks. Not the time. Are you a politician or something? Says Blagoji 1996. You know, your name sounds a hell of a lot like Blagojevich, if you know who the hell that is. The ousted Illinois governor that served time in prison that Trump pardoned. But no, I'm not a politician. I eat, sleep, and breathe politics, and I prefer to talk to my red hat friends because they speak the real. Appreciate the question, though. Redneck Vegan said people. Lord of Delta, the founding fathers only paid when they were in session. Yeah. The sunset for love, they all do. I'm just looking at your questions, and folks, you guys been on here. Y'all remember Kavanaugh? That was a crazy hearing. Ruby D76, I talked about that a little earlier in this broadcast, and they're bringing it up now when they're questioning Ketanji Brown, is that she's not being questioned anywhere near like Kavanaugh. And that's true. That's what the right wing is bringing up. That is absolutely true. She's not being dragged through the mud like Kavanaugh was. However, I will say this in defense of the liberals, or in defense of those who question Kavanaugh more than Ketanji Brown. Two reasons. First of all, Ketanji Brown has been through multiple Senate hearings already. So there's not a lot shit they can come up with new to come at her with. They're bringing up that she gave lesser sentences to criminals that were involved in child sex crimes. My question is, why the hell didn't you bring that up during the last time she came before you? So that's the first thing. Second thing is, whether it's true or not, and I'm not saying that there's even an inkling of truth to it, I'm just going to simply say, you had people coming out accusing Brett Kavanaugh of sex felonies. You gotta fucking ask him more questions. You gotta ask him more questions. She's not been accused of any damn thing like that. So there is a legitimate reason for why Kavanaugh faced far more questioning and scrutiny than Ketanji Brown, and it has a lot more to do with actual facts than just hating him because he's a white male. That's my take on it. Can we talk about how we are hurting from this inflation? Says my Def X. Excellent question. No, we can't. We're talking about Ukraine, remember? No, I've said it clearly that the Ukrainian war is probably the best thing that could happen to the Biden administration in quite a while, because it is diverting our attention away from the high gas prices, inflation, and just the overall economic numbers. So you're making a point, and I understand if you want to get away from Frank, Jeff, Bravo, listening to those acronyms, Frank, Jeff, Bravo, if you want to get away from that shit, I understand. You want to talk about the inflation in the economy, but the Ukrainian war is dominating the news no matter if you're right or left. You turn on Fox, you turn on CNN, they're both condemning Putin in sync. Hit them fucking likes. I need 5,000 in this bitch. Doesn't cost you any money. Hit them likes, goddammit. These are red hats, patriots. Be patriotic to them fucking likes. All right. Next question. Any judge not sentencing child crimes to the fullest has lost all credibility. Super Dave 1135. I'm in the camp of that. I'm in the camp. Yeah, hit them likes. Give me up to 5,000. I'm in the camp of what you're saying, what you're suggesting about if you're letting sex criminals off with lenient sentences, there's nothing to defend on that. The only point I have to make is what I just asked earlier in the video. She's been before the Senate on 3 other different hearings for lower level appointments. Why didn't that fucking come up? You're going to tell me that you don't want a Supreme Court justice that let folks off with sex crimes, but you're okay with an appellate court judge doing it? What the fuck? I mean, if she's really doing this to a significant degree, it should have came up already. I'm gonna use the same thing I say when folks say that Trump, the election and all of that shit with Trump. My question is, why didn't that come up before? I mean, if what they're saying about Ketanji Brown letting off sex criminals is true, then that means you fucking dropped the ball last time you had her before you. You should have stopped the earlier appointments. That's all I'm saying. Let me see here. Red hat is the funniest thing I've ever heard of. Big joke. I bet you won't say that shit when there's thousands of them in the same room with your ass. All right, maybe it did. They only show us what they want. And by the way, I respect anybody who pays attention to politics and is willing to fucking get out there and educate themselves, whether they're wearing a red hat or blue hat or whatever the fuck is on their head. And I gotta respect red hats, at least from that aspect, is that they pay attention to politics. When it comes to them rallies and shit, they show up. You ain't gotta agree with everything they say. They show up. Same thing with the Bernie Sanders supporters. I understand that if you wearing a red hat, Bernie Sanders supporters are loony bin to you. But the fact is, they're paying attention and they're showing up, which is why a lot of Trump supporters have an issue with the election, because the crowd size for Biden was nothing. Nobody showed up to any of his gatherings except a few people in cars blowing fucking horns. So I'm going to, red hats ain't no joke. Get the fuck out of here with that. Put down the daily Starbucks and start saving money, says Christy 12280. Spending money is the American way. Being irresponsible with money is the American way. You want to talk about teaching critical race theory? How about teaching finances and budgets? I 100% agree with that. Hell, when I went to college for my first time, I ended up getting immediately in credit card debt because they promote credit cards and shit like that to students. There was no Dave Ramsey that I remember of back. Remember Dave Ramsey? Everybody know about Dave Ramsey if you listen to conservative media. I'm debt free, and nobody was telling us to do that shit. It was da-da-da-da-da-da, charge. Pull out your credit card. So I agree in regards to saving money, but that's something that in this country we don't promote enough of. It's more about spin, spin, spin. I'm talking to you guys right now on a fucking Samsung S22 or some shit, $1,200. I could have got a phone for $50. So it's the American way. I'm just going to tell you that. 2 cars and a picket fence when you only need a bike and a fucking shelter. All right, Zedebeck, Hunter's laptop, a problem for you, yes or no? Yeah. I've said it on many broadcasts. When I'm on here, 7 p.m. Central, I've made it clear that where there's smoke, there's fire, in my opinion. And that's in addition to the crack use and all the other shit. But I absolutely believe that big tech, mainstream, left-wing media did what they could do during the 2020 election to quell that story, to squelch that story, and prevent it from coming out and gaining legs. And now here we are 20 fucking months later, and it's coming to fruition that, yeah, you guys did do that. I don't believe you're going to get justice against Hunter Biden with his dad as president. Let's not get ridiculous, but yeah, I believe there's something there. I believe it's a problem, but let's face it. Would you choose fucking Biden if you found out that President Trump's son was involved in some corruption? Would that really make you go to fucking voting for Biden? No, of course not. So in regards to how bad that story will hurt President Biden, it really depends on who the right-wingers send up as the next candidate. If you send up, and I've said this several times, despite my personal pleasure, my personal fucking gratification of talking to red hats, I've made it clear that I believe the best chance for Biden to win or Democrats to remain in power in the next presidential election is for Trump to be on the ballot. Because Trump brings along a lot of baggage for the Republicans that DeSantis, Governor Kemp, Christie, who else may fucking run? I don't believe they would bring along that same baggage. One of the biggest pieces of luggage that Trump brings along if he tries to run for president are the never Trumpers. There are no never DeSantis people or never Kemps. They would all come together and vote as a unified Republican Party. If you put Trump on the ballot, you lose the Liz Cheneys, you lose the McCain families, the Reagan families, the Bush families. All of that helps out a liberal candidate. I'm not saying that Trump may not be the best person to run the country. God knows, compared to what we got now, he was definitely doing a lot better than the first 14 months or so of Biden. I'm not willing to disagree with that at all. I'm just simply saying Trump's mouth and his Twitter account brings along a lot of baggage to his 2024 campaign. You guys don't fight. They got 10 fucking minutes to work with you. I'm one of your biggest fans and conservative. 300 pounds. Holla at your fucking boy. 6'6", 300 pounds, right back at you. Might even be 320. Depends on if I ate and if I shit. All right, next comment. Not as many Americans knew about this until she was appointed to the Supreme Court. Yes, they should have. Exactly. Super Dave. If not many Americans knew about what Ketanji Brown is being accused of until she got appointed to the Supreme Court, I go back to my original statement. That's because the Senate grilling her did not do their fucking job. Because they should have grilled. They should do their job. All it is for us Americans to do is sit back and listen to the questions they ask. You only have a limited amount of ability to really go and fact check and look into her history. I mean, most Americans do not have enough time to go back through all of the caseloads that Ketanji Brown has dealt with. That's the job of the Senate. That's why you fucking hired them. Their job should have been to find that information out, grill the fuck out of her on it, and make sure their constituents knew. We got an appellate court judge out here, or whatever her lower court appointments were, that's letting child sex offenders. That's what they should have done. So at the end of the day, I'm not disputing what you said. I'm just simply saying the fact that she's gotten this far, if that shit is true, means somebody has dropped the ball. A lot of senators or whoever grilled her the first time, second time, third time, dropped the fucking ball. Appreciate the Rose Sunset for love. Holla at your boy. You guys are on point. Follow the fucking page. You guys are sending the likes. You're showing the love. Hopefully you're wearing your hats, talking to your boy. Follow the fucking page. 7 p.m. Central is when we on here doing this shit. No snowflake zone. tackle any and every damn thing. I get called names in here, but at the same time, a lot of you guys reach across. We don't agree on every fucking thing. That's not the goal of this. The fact is we talking, and talking is progress. All right. Appreciate the follow, Z-Back. Looking here real quick, and I see, looks like Lord of Delta. I'm assuming that you're down in the Delta somewhere, Bayou area. Appreciate that. Kamala put a brother in prison quick. Z-Back, yeah. You know, when it comes to the black community, even though Kamala Harris is the first black VP, you want to say it like that, there's not a lot of admiration for her. Biden is appointing people of color, but Biden is not necessarily increasing his following from people of color. Point is, there's not a lot of enthusiasm towards Joe Biden. It is what it, and there's not a lot of enthusiasm towards Kamala Harris either. When Hillary Clinton ran, people thought she was fake. She had the fucking laugh and all that. Kamala Harris has a lot of those same traits. And the African-American community was not big fans of Hillary Clinton, and they're not big fans of Kamala Harris. So I agree with what you're saying there. She is this is coming from, Stacy Pumps with a Z. She is an extremely accomplished, amazing juror. She's going to be a great justice. She's absolutely going to be a justice. I hope that she rules fair and impartial from the bench. I hope that she governs the way, most of America would like. But I believe that she's pretty much a shoo-in to be nominated. They have the Senate votes, and my guess is they will get a tiny sliver of Republicans as well. So she'll get it. But like I said, even in the video I did earlier, being a woman or whatever gender you happen to be, being a woman of color, whatever ethnicity you happen to be, it is not sexist nor racist to ask you real fucking questions on how you may govern when you're about to be appointed for the rest of your fucking life to the bench. You're going to be doing things that could affect the lives of tens of millions of people. It's not sexist nor racist to ask this woman how she feels and how she's going to legislate on shit. Or how she's going to rule on it, better yet. She doesn't legislate, she rules. Openly and directly, says B. Clary 262. Exactly. Be clear with her. Be clear with her, Let her answer the questions, because if it comes out later on that you sent some bullshit to the Supreme Court, as a senator doing the grilling, you have to be able to go back to your constituents, explain how the hell that got past you. And you can say the same shit a lot of MAGA folks say. Don't blame me, I voted for Trump. You'll have a defense for against how shit got so fucked up. It didn't happen on my watch. Same thing with the Supreme Court justice. If you think that she's on some bullshit, you got to call her out on it. Which is why I'm on here now yelling out now that if she is letting sex criminals go, why the fuck didn't that come out in all of those previous hearings? There's no explanation. If Lindsey Graham, who's hammering her now, or any of the senators that are right-wing senators, Ted Cruz, that are hammering her now, sat in on any of those previous appointments, you'd have to ask them as a constituent, why the fuck didn't you tell us this during those other appointments? You dropped the fucking ball. Now it's too late. Now it is too late. So you gotta be able to call these people on this shit. Donald Trump will return March 33rd. I like that, considering there is no March 33rd. Because I was about to say I'll be talking to a fucking Q, but 33rd, okay, I get it. Justice Roberts likes the massages at Epstein's Island. Oh, that came from Zetabeck. Well, Epstein didn't feel like carrying on, so apparently he got his hands on some ligature and he decided to jump out. Okay, so we'll leave it at that. What's up with Clarence? He out of the hospital. I have not heard yet if he's out yet. We need Trump back, says Mr. Nice Guy 0693. We don't need those tweets. We don't need those personal insults. If you want Trump back, even as a guy with a name like, man, I got 5 minutes, folks. I got to get out of here in a minute. You guys, the participation has been off the fucking chain. Follow the channel 7 p.m. Central as normal. That's what I always say. I'm on his 7 p.m. Central every fucking night. Follow the channel. Okay, in regards to needing Trump back, I'll go to my original statement. If he continues the tweets and the personal insults, and fuck the liberals. We're not talking about just liberals. I'm talking about creating never Trumpers and Republicans that won't vote for him. as a president in the off season, which is the off season right now because Trump is chilling in Mar-a-Lago somewhere, you need to expand your base. Making enemies in the off season is dumb as hell. You haven't got the job yet. Make friends, not enemies, in the offseason. When he comes back in 2024, he needs to come back with more than just you guys, more than just these people. He needs to come back with people like me who's like, damn, you know what? This shit we've been dealing with is fucked up. Count me in. You need that shit. Cut out the fucking insults and personal attacks, at least until you win office again. I know this fucking audience don't adhere to that shit. You guys love criticizing liberals, attacking liberals. I get it. It's fun. You're getting to go at your ops, attack your enemies. I understand that shit. But at the end of the day, do you want to hammer liberals or do you want to fucking win and get your country back the way you want it? Figure that out. Until you figure that out, you keep talking about the election was stolen and all that other shit. Never Trumpers are ineffective. 90%, 97% of Republicans back them up. That's not true. That's not true. I truly believe that the McCain family turned a large portion of Arizona into never Trumpers. I would not be surprised if some crazy shit happens in Wyoming with Liz Cheney. That's not true. When you start fucking with people, well-respected politicians that have been around for a generation, remember, we don't have term limits. He's fucking with people that's been in office for 20, 30 fucking years. That is not beneficial. You can say it only affects 2, 3% here or there, but when you're doing that to so many people, that shit adds up. At the end of the fucking day, let's assume you're right and it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't help him. That is my point. Whether you think it matters or not, it doesn't help. 1, 2%. Remember in Georgia, I just need 11,000 votes. Remember he called Governor Kemp and said that just 11,000 votes. There's your fucking 1, 2% right there. It doesn't help. He lost some of these states by minute amounts of votes. Don't fucking create enemies. Why is that so unpopular with MAGA? Why? I don't understand. It angers me, even though my name clearly says what I am. It's when you try to get somebody constructive advice and they keep coming back with, no, I like to insult. Fuck them. I like to say, do you want to win? Or do you want to keep going in the childish name-calling shit? At the end of the day, which one is more important? Calling Bernie fucking crazy and Nancy nervous or paying $1.50 at the pump? Which one is more important to you? Figure that shit out. Be on here at 7 p.m. That's when we do this shit live. Follow the fucking channel. I got to go back out and work for the man. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. No snowflake zone. Catch you later.